Yo, what's going on? How we doing? How's everybody doing today? What's going on, Henry? I don't know, it might be a bull trap. It could, I mean, it's hard to tell. It's one of those scary spots, but you know, I think we're gonna move. I think we're gonna move along this main line right here and either break down or move up. But I would say that usually wherever we hit, the peak is very sharp. So we would see a drop soon if it is gonna drop. XRP is pumping, really consolidating, but really long con. White coffee, yeah. I mean, let's look at the 1 hour. The 1 hour looks like it wants to break upward. Also, it kind of looks like a head and shoulders to me. So it could go either way. We just have to watch. And even if it does pump, it could just come up, double top, and then come back down. What's up, Aussie Nate? How we doing? I'm not reluctant that it's gonna pump, Henry. I'm just it pumped because of some fake news. The same fake news we've been getting over and over about the XRP pace being dropped. And I mean, we had the what is it, XPF or something, which is some pretty bullish news. Jessica, thank you for the heart me. It's dropped a little bit, but I mean, we're talking about a drop back to 220 or 215. And remember, if you're on TikTok, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with your friends, and don't forget, we're also live on Twitch. That's Oz the Crypto Goat, all lower cases, no spaces. Come on down and you'll actually get some audio. And remember, if you are on TikTok and I don't get your message in the chat, I do apologize. It's hard for me to see both chats. This is XRP we're looking at. We're looking at XRP, but the day, I mean, the day looks cool. It looks like, you know, it's probably going to try to retest up here at like 238, 239, 240, probably closer to 240, and even, you know, 241, 242. If it starts breaking past 242, another strong spot would probably be 245. I would say, before it has any steam to go up again, it'll probably stop and consolidate at 245 and probably pull back to 240 again, and you know, it always zigzags its way up. But here's the thing. I'm not 100% convinced that it's going to the moon yet. Henry, thank you for the lightning bolts. Much appreciated. I'm a little reserved because the news is fake news. And the pattern and say the pattern is still this wedge. However, the wedge is much longer than it used to be. So I'm guessing it'll probably break at this line, and X marks the spot, and that's where it would break down from. We need a pullback. You know, I try not to rely on things like Wyckoff method and Elliott wave theory. They do serve a purpose, and I do pay attention to them, and I give them some validity and consideration, but I try not to, because that's how a lot of people get snaked into things. Sorry, music a little loud. We've been moving equipment around. We have new equipment coming in like every single day, so things are kind of in a transition phase. So I do apologize for any like audio issues. Hopefully everyone on TikTok has good audio. Let me know if the audio needs to go up on TikTok. If anybody's watching on TikTok and needs me to turn up the audio, I do have microphones for TikTok. However, you're not going to get any of the music, and you're not going to get any of the volume for the news if you're on TikTok. So you got to come over to Twitch. That's Oz the Crypto Goat, if you want to get that audio experience. And that's really, you know, we do have TikTok, but the idea of having, you know, Twitch is, it's a safety net, because TikTok, we get guidelines all the time. For some reason, this show is a magnet for hitting guidelines, and I think it's because we're telling the truth. You know, the truth is the lie in this new paradigm that we're in. So when you're telling the truth, they don't want people to know the truth, and so having Twitch is our place to retreat to. CME on Solana, Century Memories is pumping. CEME. Hey, Ibrez, don't forget to renew your subscription. And for those of you that are subscribed on TikTok, don't forget to sign up for the email alert system, so that way you get those email alerts and you know where the price is heading, and you get those price predictions when they come out, because they're not useful the next day. They're not useful hours later. They're useful in the moment, because things happen very quickly. And so this is a way to mitigate that delay that comes through the TikTok notification system. Some people even don't get notified at all. So this is our way of setting up not only a way to get those notifications, it also helps the algorithm for the TikTok by you going into the search bar and searching for my name. It drives viewership. It hasn't really done too much of that. It's more or less for you. It's your ability to be ahead of the curve and be on top of the game. That's the main thing that we're focused on. We want to be ahead of the curve. We're always early on this stuff. I see the things and I'm like, okay, this is where it's headed in the next several hours, several days, and some of my predictions are daily predictions. Some of them are within minutes. And you got to be on top of your game. You got to have those notifications turned on your email and make sure that you're getting them. And you can, with your email, you can set up your notifications more customized. So you can put a special alert for that notification, and that way you know what's coming in. Kodak says, thanks for looking at my notifications. Pretty sure I'm getting it. Yeah, I think you're getting it. Basically, every time I post something to TikTok, you're going to get a notification. You're also going to get a welcome letter. You know what, Kodak? I'm going to have the staff send out a new welcome letter to you. I don't know if you got that yet or not. I wanted to make sure you got a welcome letter though, because I do know that you had it set up and they were in your spam folder. So make sure you are checking when you sign up for the email list. You should be getting a welcome letter right away. If you have not received that welcome letter, then you need to either check and make sure it's not in your spam, or make sure that I don't have the wrong information. Typos happen, things like that. It can be on my end, it could be on your end. We don't know. And this is our way of making sure that it's working properly. So when you get that notification, that's how you know that it's working properly. What's the top, I believe, before XRP dumps? I'd probably say like 240. We're due for a price correction. It's due for a red candle. But I think we could potentially get 240 because of moon cheese, or it's done. But this is, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a spinning top, but it's kind of a spinning top. And it looks like another spinning top. And both of them could indicate movement in either direction. I think we're going up from here, Godly Man says. I expect at least one little red candle. At least like a wick down here to 228 and then back up maybe, or 234 at least. But usually with a big push like this, there's a 50% correction that comes after. Look at this green candle right here. It's not quite a 50% correction, but it is at the wick. We got halfway down the wick, we came back down. Same with this big green wick. We went up from there and then all the way halfway back down. This big green wick right here, we had another one, but it dropped back down, and then we got a hammer right here, and that brought it down even lower. But you see, there's always a price correction with this candle here. The Brad Garlinghouse news, we have a red candle, 50%. We always get at least 50%. And look at Trump's God candle. We had like an 80% correction. Okay, the bigger the candle, the bigger the correction. 228, but the case is done, and the case is done. That'll be the last drop. Let me tell you right now, the case is not done. All that happened was Ripple submitted a letter to the SEC for accepting their appeal. The judge has not approved the appeal. Nothing is official yet. Nothing. Until we have something official, I'm not buying it, because the injunction is in place. Until the injunction is removed, I'm not buying it. Fair value gap is what you're talking about, the price correction. Yeah. So this wedge right here is very bearish, and they never break at the tip. They always break early, and I'm thinking X marks the spot. We probably do something like we did here, where we run up and touch here at 240 and then work our way down slowly with some red candles, and we get closer to this X, which would be Wednesday the 21st of May, and that would signal perfect timeline with the previous cycle, the 20th of May. Look at right here, guys, pay attention. This big, nasty red candle was the 19th of May. All right. Expect to see something like that. Look, we had a little bit of a run up in the middle of May here. And we could see more of a run up. Obviously, it's not going to line up exactly on the day. But this is normal cycle. Normal cycle movement is that drop in the middle. And then mid-July, back up one more time at about 50% of the way. And then that's it. And then it's all downhill from there. SEC and Ripple already have agreements, just needs dissolution. I agree with that. However, Ripple agreed to pay a fine, okay, which is technically admission of guilt. So there's a possibility that the injunction is not removed. That is the main concern that we have, is whether that injunction stays in place or not. The judge is the one that can only decide and remove that injunction. When the injunction is removed, that's when it'll start to get crazy. And it'll pump at first, and then I think institutions will be allowed to get into it, but they're going to short it. I think they'll short it at first, and then they'll drive the price up to crazy numbers you never heard of. X marks the spot. I noticed that before too on the trend lines. Yeah. And look at, I mean, these trends follow these trend lines to the T. Textbook, as TikTok seller would say. Textbook. All right, let's kill the music. Ripple and the SEC have jointly requested a dissolution. I agree with that. However, it does not mean that the judge is going to agree with it. I think we get a pump through the weekend. I don't know. I think we're turning back into Sunday dump. We're moving up on Wednesdays. Let's see, what was this? It was Monday. And look at Wednesday was a down day. And then Sunday was a down day again. And then we had Thursday pump. So it's anyone's game. I think it's already gotten the big pump it's going to get. It may get another small green candle here, but I don't think we see another big green candle. And if we do, that would indicate a breakout. If it does, and I'll tell you, Bitcoin dominance, it could lose Bitcoin dominance on the Bitcoin chart. And that would indicate this movement. When the money starts flowing out of Bitcoin, alts are going to pump. So there is a possibility of seeing this happen here. I don't do Wyckoff. I'm sure there's another creator that'll do Wyckoff for you, or Elliott Wave Theory. There's lots of them out there. I have my own style of doing things, and I've done them before, but I stay away from them now because they make me less accurate. So now I just stick to what I know and the way I've been doing these for 10 plus years now. I've been trading, and this is my tried and true method. And I've tried going into being like everybody else. And what I realized is I'm not like everybody else. And I don't want to be like everybody else. So I don't want to rub you the wrong way, but I tried doing those things in the past, and I'm just not going to do it because I want to do things my way. This, you know, I have my own method and it works. And it's the most accurate way that I've been able to do this. Let's see. Big Baller says, anything with XPF, are you our golden goose? You know what? I didn't even look into XPF. I wrote an article about, who was it? I don't have the paper here anymore. I wrote an article about the guy that basically spent a bunch of money on nonsense and got away with it. I can't think of it right now. What's his name? You know, let's pull up the article. Why not? But I got so into writing that article that I got distracted and I forgot to even look at XPF. But you know what? Let me get my fact checker on it. Is my fact checker's not in the studio, but I believe they're online working remotely. Jess, are you there? Jess or Jordan, if you're there, can you have a look at that for me? You could argue that wedge is the bottom of one big bear flag. I agree. I agree. This could also be one big bull flag. What do you mean can't hear anything? Dang, bro, 6 ads. Had to watch. My bad. I apologize for that. I have no control over... I've tried to just completely remove the ads. They won't let me do it. So either you got to deal with it or you got to subscribe to it. But at least there's an option where you just deal with it. And it is what it is. But we have to have this... secondary platform to mitigate what's been happening with TikTok, unfortunately. So blame TikTok. Let's see here. Mandy says this guy's been saying XRP is going to crash for months and months now. XRP did crash. I said it was going to crash to 163 and we hit it. We hit 163. And then I said we were going to pump. And what did we do? We pumped. Now I'm in a phase of indecision. Indecision. We do not know. We're going to have to wait for a breakout. But I'm not biased. I have no bias at anything. D. Walter says it hit 163 exactly. We pumped and stuck at 235. Exactly. I called the pump. I called the drop to 163 and I called the pump to 235. Perfectly, exactly. And then we had a nice little pullback. And then I called the pump again. Now, I did say that it would go to about 225, possibly 230. We did pump a little bit over that. The candle closed at that point, but it did pump over that. And, you know, we make adjustments. Harley Boy says, sure you did. You know, if you stick around long enough, you'll become a believer. And if anybody's in the TikTok chat, maybe somebody can jump over to TikTok and set this guy straight and let him know what's been going on. Because I know a lot of you have been here for months watching this happen. Someone go set this guy straight. TikTok seller, get him. Let him know. Why don't you pull up the video and let's see it? I could actually do that. However, I don't have that prepared for today's show. But if you'd like to come on to the show on Monday, we can talk about it. I got it at 164 because of OGS. Yes. Yeah, plenty of people. I'm sure that they'll start chiming in left and right. If you're on Twitch, jump on over to TikTok and let these people know what we've been doing over here. Set the score straight. I don't need to prove anything to you. Let the viewers do it for me. Let the proof be the pudding, because I can argue with people all day long and they'll never want to hear anything. But when you guys chime in and say, hey, wake up, dude, people listen. And that's really what we're here about. We don't want to belittle people. We don't want to make people feel less than or anything, or that they're wrong. What we're here to do is read the news, be educated, and be not biased. The whole point of this show is to have zero bias. Is so that we can be neutral, and because we are neutral, we are making good trades, baby. We are hitting those points all the time. He's probably listening to Calvin. Yeah, probably listening to Calvin, but it's all right. It's all right. We'll make them believers. You've been darn accurate for me. Only issue is I sell too late, but that's on me. Yeah, and you know, those price points, they're like this, you know, when things happen, they happen quickly, and then they happen not at all and slowly for long periods of time. And I notice I get the most messages when nothing's happening and everything's, or right when a big pump goes, like, but right after a big drop or a big pump, I get a lot of messages like, what's happening? What are we doing? I'm like, hey, we're like in consolidation. In a consolidation zone, you generally don't buy or sell. You wait for a breakout. And we broke upward. Look at X marks the spot. Look at, do you see where the tip of this wick is? Right on that X, baby. It's off a little bit. Obviously, it's not perfect, but we tipped that wick right there. X marks the spot. And I said that in the live yesterday, that we would probably come up, and the question is, would we break out from there and move into this area, or would we stay in the box? When do you think the investigation is going to happen? That's a good question. Regulation, firm regulation. I think it could take years, a year or two for regulation minimum. I'd say we're how many months into it now? Since what's been January, February, March, April, May. So we're like 5-6 months into that time frame. So I'd say 6 months to a year and 6 months probably, until we have firm regulation. And then as soon as that regulation is in place, I would expect within a month to 3 months investigations to start. And then I would say within 6 months to a year from there for investigations to finish, and possibly even longer. So this is a long time down the road. I would say 2030 maybe would be the collapse of Bitcoin and the rise of XRP. I would say that's probably a more realistic time frame. No worries, I'll do the belittling on the channel for little Timmy's. You guys are hilarious, man. I love you guys. I love you. And if you haven't seen my meme about when haters try to come into the chat and then my subscribers got my back, I love you guys, my subscribers. You are my XRP army infantry. We are our own little battalion over here, and I appreciate you all very much. I bought during consolidation because it's usually bullish. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad to buy in consolidation, especially like in this zone, this consolidation, but it's also tricky because, yeah, we're hitting this line of resistance right here and have the possibility of bouncing up, but the other line of resistance, well, excuse me, support. So this would be the support line, and then the resistance above here is very close But I would say that I was expecting it to pump closer to the X here, but instead we pumped and got this X up here. But X marks the spot. So I would say that more than likely we either have a major crash on Sunday that would line up with our X right here, Sunday, Monday, something like that. And that would be a big, nasty red candle. And it may just come down and touch, but I'm thinking probably more like 219, 220 is all it'll catch. And that will still be on the X. 235 since 10 a.m. this morning. Yeah. It's a 50-50 right now. It's a 50-50. I think a lot of people are FOMOing in. That's why it's still continuing, but the big pump has already happened. The Asian markets are probably going to come in and take their profits on Sunday, and that's going to bring the price back down. I think we're moving back into that Sunday dump phase. However, we have been in a Sunday pump phase, so let's just take into consideration that maybe it does. Sunday could either bring us to the line or up out of it, and then we would touch here at 244, 245. And if we can get above that and basically bounce up here and get on top of this line and have this line be support, it's the moon, baby. It's $3. It's and as long as things stay good in the news and bullish things, we could go past $3. But I would say $2.80 to $3 at first, and then we'll have to see from there. But if we break $3 and then break $3.40, we're going to $7. You know, I think we can potentially go higher, more like 8 or 10. One day or another, we're going to $4. I think you're right, but $4 could be a year from now. It could be 4 months from now. It could be 4 days from now. And I would say that it's probably more further off. I think we could hit, if we crash down and we hit these lower numbers down here, and we stay low through June, July, I would say that we pump to about $283. Probably not even 280. I'd say 250 to 280, and then come back down. And that would be through November, December. But if we continue to stay above, I think we could have, like, it's not going to be like a 4-year cycle like it's been. It could be like a yearly cycle, a quarterly cycle. Things are going to be changing, and they're not the same. My numbers say we're heading into alt season. I mean, technically we're already in alt season. However, Bitcoin dominance is possibly falling. So let me pull up Bitcoin here. If Bitcoin doesn't hold this and doesn't pump above here and starts to break down, Bitcoin dominance will fall. If this is another consolidation right here, oh, shoot. Hold on. If this is another consolidation and we do something up here, that's another double top right there. And that would be the fall of Bitcoin down to 50, 60K. I'd probably say somewhere about 70K to 45, 50. But the last time it fell, this is mooned. What do you mean? I'm sorry. It sounds like there's a typo there. Yeah, people aren't ready for the Bitcoin dump. I think you're right. And it'll be a big sell-off if it does. And that would be a double top here. So we had a double top here, but it'd be a macro double top. Bitcoin's going to moon. I think there's potential for that. And I think that that's probably why XRP will probably fall short. It'll probably pump some, but I think Bitcoin's going to get the most of that liquidity. And we saw that happen this last time. All these red candles, Bitcoin was pumping. Bitcoin saw all this move upward. It had a little bit of a pullback. But XRP saw all this red, because the liquidity was spread out. In the most bullish case, how high you think Bitcoin will go, like stars align for Bitcoin? Stars aligning for Bitcoin. I mean, 150 to 200K. I would say that probably 150 would be the next psychological zone. It's just one of those. Even 125K could be like the next psychological zone, and a little bit of consolidation, and then back up to 145, then to 150, and so on and so forth. It's a ladder that it climbs. But I mean, if let's just say that Bitcoin doesn't drop ever and the investigation never happens, and that's just what it is, I could see Bitcoin being worth $1 million a coin. It has the decibels set up for that, the way it's fractionalized. More than likely, I think it was intended to be worth that at some point. But the question is, how long does it take to get there? It could be decades from now. What does Bitcoin offer? Nothing. I don't see Bitcoin in the future. I think you agree. I agree with that. I think Bitcoin is a store of value, and that's what meme coins do. I think, it's just a lot of people aren't into crypto like we are. We are crypto maxis. We are watching shows like mine religiously, and we're on top of all of everything that's going on, right? We're all into it, right? We know what's going on, but everyday regular people, even people like Donald Trump, okay, when they say Bitcoin, they mean crypto. They conflate the two words together because they mean the same thing to them, because they haven't learned that there's a difference. Bitcoin is a crypto, but it is not crypto. So when people who are old people that are just looking for some place to put their money to hopefully get rich, or whatever it is that their ideas are going on in their head, even people my parents' age and even my age, less than 10% of the world is into cryptocurrency right now. And I would say 90% of those people don't even know what we know. I would say we are the top 1% being as educated as we are. Solana can do everything XRP can and faster. And, I do believe that there are other, what would be the word, blockchains and technologies out there that will, compete with XRP. But I see it more as an ecosystem. I think certain things are going to serve certain problems and certain processes, and everything is going to have its space. I don't think it's going to be XRP is the one all be all replace of the Swift banking system. Everything has to be XRP. I don't see that. I think I picked XRP because it seems to be the most resilient and one of the top movers alongside Bitcoin this bull run. And if you know anything about me, I called Shiba Inu in 2020. If you had been listening to my podcast in May of 2020, I would have told you to buy $1,000 worth of Shiba Inu in May of 2020. You would all be millionaires. True. People don't have time to learn this, unfortunately. Yeah. And that's why we will be rich eventually. We will be wealthy. We will be okay because we stay informed. XRP is already utility. I agree with that. Bank of America already used XRP in the past. They stopped using it because of what happened with the lawsuit. I think it's being held back. Oh, wow. We got a lot of messages on TikTok. Remember, guys, if you are on TikTok, I can't see the chat. So if you want to engage in the chat for the show, come on over to Twitch. That's Oz the Crypto Goat, all lowercases, no spaces. If you are a subscriber on TikTok, I do apologize. We are still working out some of the kinks with the new studio, so I cannot see the chat at all on TikTok. It's not out of any reason other than I just can't see it. So I do apologize. Once that gets fixed, I'll address the chat in TikTok as well. Logistics health. What is that? What is logistics health? You know, one that I really like is HBAR. I don't think that HBAR is going to replace the SWIFT banking system like they speculate and say. However, I do think that HBAR is another good, valid option. But I think it's more of an ecosystem. All of these different things are going to hold different places. And, you know, I'm not quite sure on this, but I think a lot of the tokens, like Sushi token and dog coins and stuff, like I think one day, like when you buy sushi, you'll use a sushi coin. One day when you buy dog food, you'll use a dog coin. I think that's kind of where that's going to line up with all those different random coins. They're going to be some type of currency that different retailers are going to, you know, take. And I believe that XLM is going to be that transfer between those different coins into regular currency. Pharmaceutical distribution and healthcare infrastructure firm in Florida. And is that what they're using XRP, or is that a stock? Because that sounds like something if it was a stock, I'd be into. Yes does not answer the question. How's XLM doing? Let's take a look. XLM is more of a long-term trade. You've got some time to hold on to that one. I would say a couple weeks. I would say look for your entry point, because there is a possibility that it does break down to, you know, 25 cents, probably at the lowest, and still be within this trend. You bought it 2 days ago. Good for you. So you bought the bottom. 25 cents. I'd say hold on to it to at least 35 cents, and it could go more. Especially if things turn around, we go into alt season stuff. I could see it hitting 50, 55 cents again. Good for you. Guinea Marie, I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You have come so far since we first started trading together. You have been so successful. It makes me happy to see people like you turning things around and actually growing as a trader. It makes me very happy, and I really enjoy our back and forth together. You're one of my regulars that message me, and I really enjoy you. Welchenix Health is a pharmaceutical distribution healthcare infrastructure company based in Tampa, Florida. It operates an integrated platform connecting manufacturers over 6,000 independent pharmacies, focusing on seamless medication distribution and patent-centric fulfillment. Oh, nice. I'm going to look into that. I'm kind of more into defense stuff right now as far as the stock exchange goes. I'm liking Lockheed Martin. It tanked because Trump got into office, and I bought a bunch of it because everyone thought that it was going to be peace on earth because of Trump. And I'm like, yeah, that's never going to happen. I sold XRP today at 243. It just made a little. Good for you. And, you know, if it does break out again, it will have a bit of a price correction. And there'll be another entry point to ride it up, you know, but at least you're taking profits now, and you're actually gaining. It's not real unless you turn it into real money. Otherwise, it's just numbers on a paper. If you've seen The Wolf of Wall Street, remember when he's there with Matthew McConaughey? And he's like saying, these people, they're getting rich on fucking paper, but we're taking cold hard cash via commission, motherfucker. Right? That's really the name of the game. Is, yeah, you can get rich on paper, but when you're actually taking profits, you're growing your portfolio, and you can reinvest those profits later on. You know, that's the idea. Is so many people have been fed this moon cheese idea of, I'll buy it at any price and just hold on to it, and I'll come back later. That's not how crypto makes you rich. They think that that's what's going to make them rich, is by holding it. What makes you rich in crypto is by trading the volatility. Yes, I just leave it to invest again like XLM. Good for you. And that's diversification. I am so proud of you. Guinea Marie, I am so proud of you. It's amazing. You made 5K on Shiba Inu. I made my first 3.5 million on Shiba Inu, and I didn't take enough profits. And that's why now I preach to the choir, take profits. Because I thought I was going to be a billionaire off of Shiba. I thought I was going to be a billionaire with a B. And I held on to it, and it crashed. If I had taken those profits, I would be much, much better off. I took some, but not enough. I thought I was going to be a billionaire. Everything, man, it's just money on paper if you don't take profits. Did you ever find out about the pre-sale? I didn't. I got so busy. A bunch of equipment came in last night, and we put the whole studio together, and then we found out that we were missing some pieces of equipment, and I had to throw everything together so that we could do the live show. And then I had to disassemble everything again and put it all back together again because we were missing parts and pieces and things. And so it was just so much extra work. I did not get to it. And then I was writing that article. If you guys saw my post, I wrote a news article because I'm working towards becoming a journalist. I want to be a journalist. I want to do investigative journalism. I want to do so many different things. That my ambitions are high. I kind of got carried away. I was going down the list of things to look into, and I just didn't even get into it. Brother, you made 3.5 mil on crypto, then either way you won. Well, I didn't actually make it because I didn't take all the profits, but I did do all right. I'm retired now. I'm 36 years old, completely retired from crypto, cashed in my 401k and put it all in. I was hit by a drunk driver in 2016, and I took my settlement and I put it into XRP in 2016. How do you decide which coins like Shiba to buy? Part of it, okay, so the way I was able to pick Shiba is everyone was dozed out. Everyone was Dogecoin, Dogecoin, Dogecoin. And I was like, okay, Dogecoin's done. Why would I buy into something that's done? What's the next Dogecoin? And I started looking into Shiba Inu, and I saw that Shiba Inu also had utility. And I saw that it was a coin for the people, that it was something that the holders of Shiba could vote on it to change it. And I fell in love with it, and I was like, this is it. This is the next Dogecoin, and I was right. And I do think Shiba Inu does have a bright future for it as far as the meme coins go. I wouldn't even call it a meme coin. I'd call it a utility currency. And XRP, I picked XRP years ago because of everything that we know about it and how it's supposed to do cross-border payments and all of that. You know, I believe that they're moving towards a one world government and one world currency. And I believe that a lot of other people believe that as well. So I chose XRP because it lined up with that ideology. How can I get a one-on-one with you, do trades like shorts and longs? You can become a deluxe subscriber on TikTok and you can message me directly and we can do it that way. And basically message me through TikTok. So as a deluxe subscriber, I do coaching. So if you're looking for coaching like that, then become a deluxe subscriber on TikTok. For those of you that are saying nobody asked that, we are live on Twitch as well. Do I like the one world order? No, but do I think it's inevitable? Yes. And I feel that it's important to secure myself financially because right now the boat is sinking and everyone is robbing the silverware and I'm trying to get my family to the lifeboats. I think by tomorrow we'll know if we break out or not. I agree. I think by tomorrow we should know. I'm thinking tomorrow, if we start pumping, expect us to move into this box right here or above it and this be support and we see $3 sometime soon in like the next month or so, or we break down from here. And by the way, if you're watching on TikTok, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with your friends, but also come on over to Twitch if you want to engage in the chat. We are live on Twitch, and that is the chat that I can read. I can't really read the chat on TikTok. It's very hard for me to see. So if you want to engage on the chat, come on over to Twitch. That's Oz the Crypto Goat on Twitch and join our community over here. All right, bro. I heard that last part. These ads are killing me. Have a blessed night. Talk to you soon. All right, for sure. Become a deluxe subscriber. Godly man, I do apologize about the ads. There's nothing I can do about it other than to become a subscriber and then you don't have to pay for, or you don't have to watch the ads. But if you want to do one-on-one trading and you want daily coaching, become a subscriber on TikTok. Kodak says, what ads? So for people who are not subscribed on Twitch, they have to watch ads. But all of you are my glorious army of subscribers. And you don't have to watch ads. You actually get to watch the show uninterrupted. And unfortunately, like that's part of Twitch is dealing with the ads. But at the same time, we get hit with guidelines on TikTok constantly. I am just sick of spending hours. I literally have a person that I've hired to deal with appeals because TikTok is just completely appeals. And we've had to cut back on the staff a bit because we've been like going a little too hard, just spending way too much money. So I've kind of had to reel it in because we were making money off of TikTok. We were making money and now that money's just completely gone because of being hit with guidelines. And basically TikTok is robbing the show. Can you show port? What do you mean? What do you mean, daddy? Can you show port? Like, is that a coin or... by the way, guys, if you are in the chat, you have to be a little bit more descriptive in what you're writing and a little more conscientious about what it is you're saying. Can I show my portfolio? Hell no. I don't even tell people what platform I use to trade on. Hell no. What I can, you know, the proof is in the pudding. I make no money off of this live. And I've spent over $15,000 building this show. And I did that from one little green candle. And my profits from my trading have been going into this show. Yeah, what moron would show them your profile, my portfolio? Exactly. I have no, I'm literally 36 years old, retired. I have a staff of 4 different people working under me. I literally make $1 a live. I'm bleeding money out my ass. And I'm doing it all for you guys. Yeah, we finally got a troll on Twitch. That's awesome. And that's cool, Daddy. I don't care. 15,000 for this show, 11 viewers. Okay. Yeah, I know. I completely built a studio from the ground up. And that's because, I mean, one, this has been my lifelong dream to do this. I've been trying to have this show. But mind you, we're also streaming on 2 different platforms, and we're on YouTube as well. But the show is growing. The show is growing. And it's great. I'm glad we finally have a hater on Twitch. That's awesome. That is a rite of passage, I would say, because we just started on Twitch, what, a couple weeks ago? And it's great to see all the growth that's been happening. But we literally built this studio from the ground up. I can't wait. I think Monday the cameras will be turned on. Giddy Marie says, who is this hater? We literally started with a tablet. We started with the Nintendo Switch. And we've just completely grown. You know, when I get the camera set up and everything's in here, I'm gonna show you guys what we freaking built in here. This is so beautiful. Like, it's soundproofed. Like, the walls are like 2 feet thick, first of all, and it's just like, it's this magnificent Faraday cage that we built. And then it's like concrete and wire mesh Faraday cage, and it's like double insulated ceiling with a secondary roof on top of it. The walls are like 2 feet wide with several layers of drywall and insulation between, and foam on the outside. It's magnificent what we built here. And we just put new carpet in, and it's beautiful. No, let him be. Let him be. Let him stay here and hate. I enjoy it. Hold on, I gotta do 2 objects are the same on TikTok. I hate TikTok so much. I have to do this where I prove that I'm actually going live. I'm talking about next level haters. Can't hear the planes anymore. Yeah, the planes are gone. I literally have an airport in my front yard. I have my own private landing strip and fueling station here. And you can't hear the planes anymore. You can't hear the planes anymore. The only thing that you do kind of hear is the air conditioner. And I'm probably going to build a baffle box for that. You can check Pengu. Got an email that says it's a good coin. I will check on it. Show the airplane runway, liar. Okay. I will take pictures of the airplane. The only, or the hangars and everything. The only reason I don't do that is because it is listed on Google Maps, and I don't want people to find out where I'm at. But I can take some video and post a video. I just won't show any actual stuff, but I'll Maybe I'll pull the Corvette out onto the landing strip and take a picture. I'm literally saying I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it right now in the middle of the live, but I'll do something. This bull cycle, I've been stuck with the top 5 ISO coins. I'm not into meme coins anymore. I'm out of it. I've lost too much money, too many pump and dumps. I'm looking for real world utility because I am looking at adoption. I think that we're headed towards adoption, and I'm no longer looking into nonsense coins. And honestly, I've been so focused on the show, I haven't really branched out much. I used to have, 20 hours a day to do nothing. Now I'm doing everything on the show. Let's see here. Tengu USD. I'm not going to claim I know something that I don't. Can you show one trade you've ever made this year? I mean, the studio. I made 10K off of one trade. It was this green candle right here. And for those of you that have been watching the show, you remember when I called this right here and we had the big green candle and we all caught this. This green candle right here paid for the studio minus 5K. That came out of my own pocket. I don't need to show you anything. The proof is in the pudding. We are making, everyone here that has been trading has been doing quite well. Chat, help me out. Chat, help me out and be the pudding and let everybody know that we've been doing well. Yeah, I'm just trying to help you guys learn. Many people have been making tons of money. I would say Pengu looks the same. It's this, we got a nice little pump and a pullback. I think it's headed for price correction. If everything else pumps, it'll pump with it. I don't have to show you anything. What I can show you is I can show you this show. You can watch it and you can see me be right day after day consistently. What would you guys say my accuracy percentage is? I say like 80%, but everyone says it's much higher. I don't know. I can literally show you the show. Watch the show. Yeah, I literally made a prediction, 3 months in advance of a drop to 163 on XRP before it would turn around and go back up, and we nailed it to nearly the cent. And I said it would probably fall 161, but we added a couple cents just to make sure that it would hit. Why are you entertaining him and defending yourself? You don't need to do that. He doesn't define your worth, and if he wants to stay, then he will learn. Yeah. I listened to the 1 a.m. call and AM in the green, and I'm in the green right now. It's all good. Let them comment. It just helps the bottom line on growing the Twitch. I really don't care. And I have nothing to defend, but hopefully, there's been a lot of naysayers, especially on TikTok, when no one wanted to listen. And when it happened, I made a lot of believers. A lot of people were able to turn around, and now they're avid followers of the show. They used to be haters, and they've turned around and they understand what we're doing here. But we're also going to get into the news. But I'd say that this coin, Guinea Marie, looks kind of like the Head and Shoulders a bit. It could drop down. It could continue upward. But I would say probably Head and Shoulders, bringing it down to about 1 cent at least. And probably more like, yeah, like 1 cent. Any thoughts on Ethereum? Think it may revisit 2400. Let's take a look at Ethereum, because I'm actually feeling like Ethereum's finally going to do something. I really think Ethereum is finally going to turn around. Let's take a look and see. See, Ethereum got its nice little pump too. It's a Head and Shoulders, or inverted Head and Shoulders, excuse me. And, you know, we're going to have to watch and see what happens. The new paradigm coin. I know they kept saying that in the crypto summit. I know you want to see a trade. I know you do. But what I can offer you is the ability to watch the show and see it unfold in real life. This, you know, this looks like a bit of a bull flag though. It's consolidating. The wicks are pretty heavy on the top end though, so it could break down. It could pump up again here and double top. But this could be a bull flag. I would say probably a bull flag. Let me go into a lower time frame. Let's look at the 15-minute. That's a bull flag, baby. That sure looks like one, doesn't it? I think everything's kind of forming this too right now. XRP is the anomaly right now because we hit that 220 zone. But even XRP in the 15-minute, let's see here. Let's look at the 15-minute for XRP. XRP is in this like consolidation thing, but it's kind of like a similar thing. But you know, XRP is slowly coming up, whereas other things like Bitcoin, they're just pow pow. So XRP, I think, is the anomaly. Please show a trade. I'm not giving out any of my trade information. I don't tell people what platform I use. I don't suggest any platforms. That's all for you to figure out. But if you want to know what I'm trading, become a subscriber on TikTok. And I post those trades every day, what I'm doing. You can also become a deluxe subscriber and message me directly, and I will coach you on what trades I'm doing. But I'm also very conservative with my trades. I'm more of a smart money trader. I like to buy in the low zones. Every once in a while when I need money for the show or whatever, I'll make a little trade to keep things going. No matter what Sunday, we'll get lower prices. I don't know about that. We have been pumping on Sundays, but I think that that sentiment is flipping and turning around. However, like look at XLM, look at Bitcoin, look at Ethereum. They're showing these bullish signals. I think I'm going to have to update the RAM on this. I was talking to the IT guy today, and because I have so many windows open that are just for the news that are just like super spammy, I think that there is a high probability we pump. I think there's a high probability we pump again. The question is it going to be a lot? You know, it could just be up here, or this is, you know, this is a head and shoulders, you know, for XRP right here. That could be a head and shoulders, and that would send us right back down the line. So I'm kind of 50-50. I'm waiting for a breakout. I'm waiting for it to either fall below this line of 232, 230, or break above this blue line of 240 to make a decision on which direction we're moving. We're kind of in a sideways consolidation. I typically take the wicks, but I'm really fine if I get in now and end up being wrong. Yeah. I feel like it's one of the, it's more of a, it's not a calculated move, but at the same time, I think they're just feeding people the moon cheese like crazy. Been pretty risky recently, so let's just see. You know, the way to become wealthy is to take risky trades on small amounts of money, but to make not risky trades with large amounts of money. That's how we really become wealthy. All right, let's get into the news. We got some news to cover. Bitcoin news today. Bitcoin's price surges past 101K as U.S. legalizes strategic BTC reserve and global adoption rises. Bitcoin breaks. Bitcoin has reclaimed the six-figure territory, hitting 101,000 on May 8th, 2025, marking a major milestone driven by accelerating global adoption and a series of bullish U.S. policy shifts. The top cryptocurrency has rallied over 4.5% in the past 24 hours, breaking past the key psychological level of $100,000, with traders now eyeing its potential new support zone. Yeah, give me a minute, Neo. I'll look at Orca. Remind me again to look at Orca after we get through this article, if I forget. I will try to remember, though. Key highlights: Bitcoin hits 100K. Legislation passed in 2 U.S. states that allows Bitcoin strategic reserves. And these are different than regular reserves. I believe they are accumulating reserves in these states. Bitcoin ETF and institutional inflow continues to climb. The U.S. banks approved to trade and custody crypto assets. Positive momentum follows Trump's trade deal announcement with the UK. And there is no trade deal, as you guys know that yet. Nothing is finalized. We have no solid deal yet. However, I think that they pushed out that news because they knew that interest rates were not going to come down. So they wanted to put out some type of news that was going to mitigate the market, I would say. Trump's trade deal with the market. We already covered the trade deal. But this is the main thing I want to take from this. Strategic Bitcoin reserve now legal in U.S. states. In a landmark move, 2 U.S. states passed bills allowing the formation of state-level Bitcoin reserves. Missouri Bill 594 passes May 8th, eliminates capital gains tax on BTC. So if you live in Missouri, baby, take some profits, because the elimination of capital gains tax will probably drive people to more likely take profits, because a lot of people have just been holding, waiting for that to happen. So keep that in mind, but that's only on the state level. On the federal level, that has not changed yet, so they may hold on to it longer. This shift comes amid increasing recognition of Bitcoin's value as a strategic financial asset and inflation hedge. Regulatory green light banks and cryptos trading in parallel with state legislation. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency announces that U.S. Bank can now trade crypto on behalf of customers, outsource crypto custody to licensed third parties. Wow, let's watch this video. Oh, I guess it's not a video. Let's read what it says then. Latest, the Office of the... We just read it. May engage in cryptocurrency activities. That's awesome. Bitcoin ETF inflows and institutional adoption climbs. Analyst says 100K could become the new support, and I think that that is a possibility. But we would have to break up from here, and I think we're due for a price correction. So if we do not pump from here, and this is it, this would be the fall. Okay? But I would say that in the 1 hour, it kind of looks like a flag. So we could pump from here. We could definitely pump from here. And I would say 110 at the most. 110 at the most. Because they refuse to let Trump have any kind of win, Senate and Congress have taken 2 breaks. I agree. I literally said that yesterday. Thank you, Neo, for confirming that with me. Let's look at Orca for Neo. Orca USD. Oh, look at that. Orca hasn't even really pumped yet. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Orca barely got any. That looks like a freaking bull flag. Maybe. I mean, if this is the pole right here, it's quite a big... But either way, even if it's not a bull flag, this is a descending channel, which indicates an upward movement. It's probably more of a descending wedge, I would say. That is a bullish move right there. And I would say that it would push to minimum 365 and probably, I mean, it could wick something like this thing right here. I could see it going up to 550 again. But based on this pattern, I would say that that's probably more like the 4 to 450 zone for this pattern. So we need more indication. This also kind of looks like maybe a double bottom thing here. So the double bottom would take it to at least 380. I'm putting money in that right now. Good for you, buddy. Let's see. How long do you hold for that? What do you mean? You hold until it hits or it breaks structure. There's no real... Is it weeks? I mean, for this one, I would say it could be days. Maybe a week from now. But when we're on the day chart, remember, each one of these candles is a day. So it could take several days to get up there. It really depends on what structure is it forming on what time frame. So if we're looking at the day chart, I would say it's in weeks. If we're looking at the hour chart, it's in days. That's how I would gauge it. So if we're looking at the day, oh, we froze again. Are you guys still there? Okay, we're back. Okay, so we are still building the studio. We should be hardwired into the internet by Monday on Ethernet. We are still on Wi-Fi and we're sitting inside of a Faraday cage. Okay, so I do apologize, but these things take time. And because we're moving to a new place, we're just going to have these little problems in the meantime. So please bear with me, everyone. I appreciate your support. My internet has been bad today. Maybe it's the internet. It could be that. I do have Starlink, and so Starlink has been kind of acting up lately. But I also do believe that being in a Faraday cage and not hooked up to Ethernet is part of the problem. So bear with me. Hopefully we'll get it sorted out. I do have my IT guy coming in today after the show. Every day after the show, my IT guy comes in and he double checks the equipment and updates things and just takes care of all of that and makes sure that things are running smoothly and we're not getting viruses and malware and whatever. He just does everything technical, because I could, try to do all this, but I'm literally watching the charts and reading the news and putting the show together and doing all these things. I've just had to kind of branch out and alleviate some of that stress off myself, because it's just been too much. My thoughts on the Pengu, I think we need a little more data. I think if Bitcoin pumps, it's going to pump. I think everything's kind of following in Bitcoin, and even the meme coins, they're not pumping with Bitcoin, but they're in like unison. They're just off. So like when Bitcoin has its off day, they have their pump day, and it's just kind of like off balance. And that's really what's going on. All right, back to the news. So today's kind of a slow news day. And, we had some technical issues earlier, so we did start a little bit later. So it kind of works out because we don't have that much news to cover. That was pretty much the only real news that's any different as far as crypto goes, or XRP. As far as XRP goes, nothing has changed. The only thing that changed is that they submitted a letter for the dismissal. Okay. And nothing is official, nothing is set in stone, and the injunction is still in place. Until the injunction is removed, nothing crazy is going to happen. And I think even then, with that, we've had so many of these speculative pumps on XRP for the same reason, which is the Ripple case. It's gonna be lackluster. It'll be something, but it won't be. Let's see here. We can go into the 1 hour. It won't be anything more than this. This was when Trump announced the strategic reserve, and that was what, from $2.21 to $3. That's not that crazy. I don't think we're gonna get what everyone's expecting to get. Everyone is expecting to get $11 million price for XRP once the case is dropped. I just don't see that. I think we'll get somewhat, and then we'll probably get a bit of a pullback after that. But the problem is people are being fed moon cheese, and they think that they can put $100 into XRP and eventually it'll make them rich. And that's just not how it works. People get rich in crypto by trading because of the volatility. Volatility is what makes it easy to make money quickly. And with war and tariffs and all that, we get more volatility. We have heavy drops and heavy returns. The only problem is with bad news is our returns become less and less. And I'd say that with XRP, this top blue line here really just kind of lines up with what happened on the last moon cheese. Look at it. We got some moon cheese we pumped out. We got some moon cheese we pumped out. I think that it's well within structure because this was above here and we broke down and then we stayed in here and then we broke above and we broke down, we stayed in here and then we broke above and then we'll broke down and we'll stay in here. And then I think we could potentially break out from there. However, there is a possibility we break out now. And what I'm doing is I'm waiting for that to happen. And I told you guys, you know, days ago that we would probably pump here and either stay below this line and drop down, or we could come up and probably touch the top line. But I'm not going to confirm a $2.80 to $3 price until we start to push up above that 250 range. I want to see a breakout. I want to see something real and substantial. You know, that's how I do this show, guys. I want to see facts. I want to see real stuff. I'm not just going to make moves willy-nilly because normally I don't trade up here. I buy down here and I sell up here. And I'll move along here and make some of that money. But I'm looking for more of buy zones down here along this blue line and selling along this blue line or this blue line. That's the way it's done. Yeah, there's money to be made between this blue line and this blue line, but it's risky. Very risky. Hey, can I get a fact check on something? Let me look it up. It's can you fact check? I think it's XRPL or it was a new token that's offered. Where can we buy it and trade it?
XRP base.
It's on the XRP ledger. Let me look it up. Anybody in the chat, can chat help me out? What was that coin? XRPL or XPLR or something? Chat, can you help me out? The fact checker is going to look into that for us, find out where we can buy it. XPF. So it's going to be XPF. If you could look into that, fact checkers on top of it. We'll get that figured out in just a few moments here. I got it via Zaman Wallet. Okay, so you can get it in Zaman Wallet. All right, I already got my Zaman Wallet. I'm probably gonna get some. And is it still on sale or was it just a one-day thing? It's called XPF.
But that's the fact. It's almost available everywhere. Coinbase. Right now, it like went live.
Gotcha. So it's available on Coinbase. It's available everywhere for the next 30 days. Just went on sale yesterday. Nice little pre-sale. Let's take a look at that coin. Let's take a look at XPF. It's not found. Looked for it on Coinbase, couldn't find it. It's not in mine. Can we get a recheck on that fact check? It says it's not available. They're saying, and I'm not even seeing it on TradingView. Google it real quick. This week. So what day does it drop? I've not received it yet because it's not dropped yet. It's for the pre-sale. Got you. Where can you purchase the pre-sale? Just Zomin Wallet? I'm assuming Zomin Wallet because Zomin is connected directly to the XRP ledger. So that would make sense that you would be getting it through Zomin Wallet. So if you don't have Zomin Wallet, highly recommend it. However, it is going to burn one of your XRP. So eventually one day it's going to end up costing you $10,000. Just a little joke right there.
On my coin.
Oh, you want to?
No, I have to finish doing
All
that.
right. Convert and swap USDC to CFP. Frank XRP.
Yes.
XPF.
Yes.
Yeah, XPF.
It's going to be available on Coinbase.
Hold on. It will be available on Coinbase. It's no longer available. I believe you can get it pre-sale through Zomin. 100 XRP minimum. I'm reading it right now. The current price of USDC XPF is 106.08 per USDC with a circulation supply of 60 billion USDC. It means that USDC has a total market cap of XPF of 6.4 trillion. The amount of USDC traded has risen by XPF 47 billion in the last 24 hours, which is a 2.27% increase. Additionally, in the last day, XPF hit 2 trillion worth of USDC has been traded. So XPF is at a 6.4 trillion market cap. Trading volume is 2.1 trillion, and USDC is 60.7 billion circulating supply. Through buy USDC with Coinbase Wallet. Create a Coinbase Wallet account. So I believe you have to get it through the wallet or Zomin Wallet. It's not on the exchange, it's with a wallet. It sounds like it's like an airdrop thing. How much is one USDC of XPF? Would be $106. How much USDC could I buy for one? How do I circulate and convert USDC to XPF? You can use our USDC to XPF calculator at the top of the page. How can I buy one USDC on Coinbase? Obviously, so it looks like you have to buy it with your wallet. It's not on the exchange. Once it goes live, it'll be available on a few exchanges. I agree. And it sounds like Coinbase is going to have it. So if Coinbase is going to have it, all the major ones are going to have it. That's generally how it goes. Coinbase is usually the last to the table when it comes to newer projects. I would say your best bet would be to get it with Zomin Wallet because that is directly tied to the XRP ledger. So I'm going to pick up some probably tonight and get that pre-sale. Mine as well, because it's probably going to pump. And I'll tell you what, as soon as it hits the exchanges, it's probably going to pump and then it's probably going to dump. So make sure you take some profits. I think it's overvalued now. If you use the Zalman wallet, you need to connect to the trust line to get it. Gotcha. I'm struggling with that. All right. I'll tell you what, guys, I will purchase some tonight, and for those of you who are deluxe subscribers, come message me, and I will tell you how I ended up buying it. Connecting to the trust line. Yeah, I'm gonna try to figure it out. If I don't get it figured out tonight, we've got a month to buy it pre-sale. So those of you who are deluxe subscribers on TikTok, if you're looking to buy that, let me make the mistakes with my money and lose my money so that you don't have to make those mistakes. So let me figure it out. I'll get it done step by step, and then we'll do it together. So you can message me. And that's why one of the perks of being a deluxe subscriber. Okay, cool. I'll message you later. Have you not bought it yet, Spider-Man? You haven't bought it, or you just been kind of like looking into it? Because I've been actually waiting for this for a while. So I'm super excited to get some. How much should I buy, guys? Start dropping some numbers in the chat. How much I should spend? Drop some numbers in the chat. Because I'm thinking at least a couple bands. At least a couple racks. But I'm thinking more. I feel like 10K is not enough. 100K? I feel like 100K is too much. Maybe, what do you think? I don't want to go too crazy because I don't want it to end up hitting the market and it just dropping. That's my biggest fear, is with the pre-sale, it could pump it up. Then I've got to hold it for another 5 years before I get a return because it drops once it hits the market. That's my biggest fear. Yeah, you have more experience to listen to that. I'm thinking at least 10K though. I'm thinking 10K minimum. I'll probably put in about 10K. 20K, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm thinking at the most I'll do 50, but I think that's a little over the top because we don't quite really know what it's going to do. I have no charts to look at. You know what I mean? Put 50 in XLM. I'm sure you'd love that. I've already got a lot in XLM right now. I got moon bags. I've had a moon bag on XLM for years. Years I've been holding on to XLM. XLM and XRP have always been my favorite. And what I like about XLM is it's lower market cap. It moves with XRP, so I only got to monitor one of them. And basically, you know, XRP is institutional money and transactions. XLM is small business and regular stuff. She says you're gambling. I don't gamble. I don't gamble. What I do is that's kind of why I want to mitigate, and I want to do a smaller portion, because you know, you want to take risky investments with small amounts of money and less risky investments with large amounts of money. And that's why I say anything over 50K for me in my situation is too much. I'm thinking closer to 10 or 20K because it's not that much, but it's also where I could potentially double, you know, what I make or more, and that would pay for the whole studio. So that's kind of where I'm at with everything right now. Is like, how am I going to make 15K overnight so that I can get back to where I was before I started building this thing. It's not as fast up or down to, I know. And the main concern is that there's no charts. There's no indication. Did you take profits in 2024? Yes, I did. I always take profits now. After, I learned my lesson several times. After not taking profits, several bull run. Well, the first bull run I was into, I took no profits. I didn't make barely anything. And then in my next bull run after that, I didn't take enough. So now I'm very heavy on make sure you guys are taking profits. You have to make it real, otherwise it's not real. Yes, we are in a bull run. The bull run's been going since July of last year. We're already a year into this bull run. We're in it. I think we're in. Okay. So I think that this bull run is different than any. Before I get into this, Nini, by the way, I cannot see the chat on TikTok. Sometimes I can see it. So if you want to engage in the chat, come on over to Twitch. That's Oz the Crypto Goat on Twitch, because we are leaving TikTok. I will be keeping the messages and the daily price points and everything for subscribers. All of that's going to stay, but the live show is leaving TikTok. So I want to let you know that because you are a subscriber. So come on over to Twitch. That's Oz the Crypto Goat on Twitch. Come join us here. It's a much better viewing experience. You're actually getting the audio and video that you deserve. And you won't be able to hear any of the news articles and things. So I have no way of putting that audio into TikTok right now. So come on over to Twitch. That's Oz the Crypto Goat. All right, what season are we in? I think that this bull run is different than any other bull run we've had. And it shows. In case you hadn't noticed, no one can tell which way is up or which way is down. Everyone is stuck in this super cycle stuff and this new adoption stuff and all these different things, right? And we pumped because Donald Trump got into office. We pumped because he got into office right here. He got elected. And then we price corrected a little bit, and then we pumped again because he got inaugurated, and it's just been downward ever since until we got this crypto reserve candle, which was a big nothing burger, and brought us back down with tariffs, and we've just been on the decline ever since. So one thing I've noticed that's been different from every other bull cycle is normally it's Bitcoin dominance is what drives the market. Bitcoin pumps hard first, and then Ethereum, and the altcoins, and then the meme coins. But something different happened this year. Something different happened in this cycle, and I think part of it has to do with we all know how the cycle works. So why would I try to run with the bulls on Bitcoin when I could just get ahead of the game and buy altcoins, right? And then there are those who are like, why would I get into altcoins when I could just get ahead of the game and I could get into meme coins? And what happened is not only did everyone try to jump the gun and get ahead of the cycles, but there's also more projects than have ever existed. So the liquidity is more spread out across the board. The total market cap for crypto is up, but the projects aren't peaking as much. And we're not seeing the big of moves. That's why everybody's waiting like, oh, this is a super cycle. and everybody's waiting for it to perform like it has in the past, but they're not taking into consideration that the liquidity is more spread out. And I'm calling this the simul cycle. All of the projects are pumping together simultaneously in unison. The only things that are really off are the meme coins and some of the altcoins. They're like alternating throughout the days. So like when Bitcoin or the altcoins tend to start going down, that money flows into the meme coins and they pump a little bit, and then vice versa, and it flows back and forth. Have you all noticed this? And what I think it is everybody is waiting for that to come, and it already came. And there is this possibility of this super cycle. I am not going to discount it. I'm going to take it into consideration that it is a possibility, and we will watch for that and watch for that breakout. And I'd love to see, you know, an $11 million XRP, but I just don't see it. What I see are the facts, and the facts are everything is pumping together in unison, and it is a simul cycle. And because of that, the liquidity is more spread out over a vast amount of projects that we didn't have in the past. So the pumps are going to be less. And what we're seeing is with this new paradigm, in quotations, of what's happening in this new adoption, what we're seeing is a lack of volatility in the market, a lack of that big pump and then big dump. It's pumping up and it's slowly moving its way down and dwindling away. That's what I think's happening. And I think everyone thinks they know the cycle because it's happened every time and it always happens the same. And I think this time is different. I think this time is different because too many people are trying to be ahead of the curve, and so it's changing the curve. The curve is morphing into something else. I was finally able to add the trust line for the XPF coin. I'm set now, I think. Spider-Man, who are you on TikTok? I forget. I'm sorry. I do apologize. Who are you on TikTok? Because I'd like you to message me on TikTok. I am still learning everybody's names. TikTok seller 444 is easy because he's got the exact same name as on TikTok. But some of you guys have different names on Twitch, so I am still learning. Jimmy, okay. Jimmy, me and Jimmy, Jimmy is one of my regular messengers. All right, cool. I'm going to talk to you later, Jimmy, and I want to kind of figure out what you did, and we'll talk later after the show. All right. All right, needed a drink there. We got to get this show on the road, though. I was kind of stalling a little bit, but we got into a little bit of stuff, and now we're running behind on the news. Danny Gibbons. Oh, yeah, Harley Dan. I know who you are. Okay. Trump administration live updates. President Trump suggests 80% China tariff. Newmark mayor arrested for allegedly trespassing. That's irrelevant. Let's watch this show, but we'll just kind of read the highlights. President Donald Trump said this morning that decreasing tariffs on China from 145 to 80% seems right in a post on Truth Social, adding that any reduction would be up to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Bessent and the U.S. Trade Representative Jamie Greer are holding trade talks with Chinese officials tomorrow in Switzerland. So we'll see what happens with that. Let's take a little watchy here.
Massive trade war between the U.S. and China. President Trump expressing optimism about talks set for this weekend in Geneva.
They want to make a deal very badly.
The talks aimed at diffusing tensions sparked in large part by the president's massive 145% tariff on Chinese imports. Asked whether he would consider lowering those tariffs if the talks go well.
You can't get any higher. It's at 145, so we know it's coming down.
5 weeks after unveiling his tariffs on top U.S. trading partners, the president touting the outlines of a new trade agreement with the U.K., with final details expected to be worked out in the weeks ahead. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer joining by phone.
But I think it's really important that we've been able to get this deal over the line now.
The agreement will roll back U.S. tariffs on British cars, as well as steel and aluminum, of which Britain is not a major exporter. In exchange, the Brits agreed to open up access and lower tariffs for American companies selling beef, poultry, ethanol, and other products. But a 10% U.S. tariff on British imports will remain. In a rare joint statement, America's big three automakers say the agreement, quote, hurts them, adding, "We are disappointed that the administration prioritized the U.K. ahead of our North American partners." The president warning companies shifting production from China to other countries won't help them avoid high tariffs, like toy giant Mattel, maker of Barbie and Hot Wheels, which recently said it would move some production to India.
That's okay. Let him go, and we'll put 100% tariff on his toys, and he won't sell one toy in the United States.
The president also brushing off concerns about rapidly slowing traffic at America's busiest shipping ports, even with thousands of jobs hanging in the balance for dock workers and truck drivers.
When I see that, that means we lose less money. That's a good thing, not a bad thing.
The president also making two notable personnel moves overnight. President Trump announcing he's appointing Jeanine Pirro, a current Fox News host and former judge and county district attorney, to be the interim U.S. attorney for Washington, D.C., after bipartisan Senate opposition forced the president to pull his previous nominee. And President Trump also ordering the firing of the Librarian of Congress, Carla Hayden, overnight by email from the Presidential Personnel Office. It's not clear yet why Trump fired the Obama appointee who had 1 year left on her 10-year term, or who he plans to appoint in her place. Craig?
Garrett Hake from the White House there. Garrett, thank you. Quick programming note here. We do want to mention that Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy will be one of Kristen Welker's exclusive guests this Sunday on Meet the Press.
News lives in
The president's trade war is also having a big effect on business in China. Anna Corrin visited the country's largest trade fair, where many exporters say business is down because right now, many American businesses can't afford to buy what they need.
If you need reminding of what China produces for everyday consumers, a tour of the Canton Trade Fair will quickly refresh your memory.
I fixed it.
From Christmas decorations,
I gotta have the IT guy come in and fix a few things. A lot of things are wonky right now. My apologies.
All here. For many of these
Moving
businesses,
everything
the
has
US
just kind
has
of
been
messed a
one of
lot
their
of things
biggest
up.
export markets. Not anymore.
Not so good this year. It's bad.
The trade war has brought an abrupt end to those sales, with US buyers telling their Chinese suppliers to cancel orders and stop shipments. And for Richard Chu, who produces fabric gift bags, that's a bitter pill to swallow.
I think it's not fair. So just make me feel sick. But you are saying now, you know.
He's done business with the US for the past 2 decades. In recent years, exports to America made up 40% of his sales. And he believes the world's manufacturing powerhouse is being punished because of its success.
Our people are very industrious and very diligent, very working hard to make the products good price. It's not our problem. I think maybe it's your problem.
In years gone by, the Canton Trade Fair was packed with American buyers, but this year officials admit the numbers are way down. It's another sign that President Trump's trade war has taken hold. One American we did come across wasn't there to buy, but rather to research new products.
I don't want to bring them in at the current tariff rate. It just doesn't work. It's too high. But I also don't believe it's going to last months and months and months.
His optimism based on the fact that no one does it better than China.
He doesn't believe it's going to last months and months and months.
In my eyes, China produces.
It hasn't even hit
But
yet.
if this
It's
trade
going to
war
last
drags on,
years.
These goods
What an
may disappear
idiot.
for US consumers.
What
For
a
CBS
freaking
Mornings,
numbskull.
I'm Anna Corrin in Guangzhou, China.
These people are oblivious to what's happening around them.
Be your own boss and never.
They are just completely oblivious. They think it's all going to be over tomorrow. Don't worry about it. Do you really think that prices are going to skyrocket up because of tariffs and then they're going to come back down? Did anything come down after COVID? Did anything come down? No. No, you're not. No, you're not. Stop. Come on, man. I mean, it's ridiculous. The fact that people believe this and they're being fed this nonsense. It's the media, or they're being told to say it for the media so that you believe it. It ain't true. These tariffs are going to go into place just long enough to drive the prices of everything up so that they can stay up forever and never come back down. And the tariffs will go away. The deals will be done with the other countries, but nothing's coming back down. Nothing will ever come back down. It will always stay up forever now. And it's just going to keep going up, keep going up. That's just how it always has been. I think it's intentional. I really do. I think it's all intentional. They need us to be flat broke and worried about paying our mortgages or our car payment and not investing into something like crypto. Because if normal people could get their hands on crypto and have the money to invest, they'd become too wealthy, and too many people would become wealthy. And that's why I have this show, because I want too many people to become wealthy. I want to be their problem, not their solution. Don't become someone's exit liquidity. Don't be manipulated. Don't be used. Rattle the cage, crypto goat. Yep. The goat is at the cage, gnawing at the bars right now. They want to cage you. They want the fiat money turning over constantly. What do you mean by that, Neo? By the way, Neo, I love whenever you engage in the chat. You always have the most thought-provoking, and you're just on point with me, man. Like, I feel like we're like mentally connected there. But on this one, I don't know what you mean. They want the fiat money turning over constantly. What do you mean by turning over? Like they want it, I'm confused. All right. So when you get your paycheck, they want you to spend 100%. Exactly. They don't want you to be able to save anything. They want you to be in debt with it. They want you to rob from Peter to pay Paul. They want you to use this credit card to pay off that credit card to pay off that credit card to get this cash advance car loan on this car and that car and whatever, to where you're just in this endless cycle of paying interest, and you're never actually gaining anything. That's what they want. They want you on a downward spiral, and that's what slavery is. But as you know, people like me, I don't have to work. My job now is to educate all of you and to bring you up to my level and to open your third eye and allow you to see the world as the way I see it. It's just slavery with extra steps. What was that, Rick and Morty? It's just slavery with extra steps. They want you indebted. They want you to be slaves. They want you to be subservient. You are their serfs and they are the lords. Well, you know what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make these serfs surf some waves, y'all. Let's surf some waves and catch that freaking ride all the way to the shore, baby, and quit trying to tread water. That's what I'm talking about. And then finally get our feet on some dry land and be able to do something with our life. That's a great little analogy. I like that. Gotta come up with a good goat one. Little goat analogy. Goat analogy. Goat analogy. As U.S. and China begin trade talks in Geneva, Trump's tariff hammer looks less mighty than he claims. Because the freaking the freaking tariffs that he put on China were just so outlandish and unsustainable. I don't think he even knew. I think he just started shouting out numbers and was just like, I'm gonna do it. And they're like, but sir, like we can't actually do that. And they're, I said it, I'm the president. That's what I think happened there. It was just, it's so unsustainable. We will fold before China will. And they know that because they will allow their country to burn. They will allow their citizens to rot in the streets if they have to in order to win. They do not care. What they care about is pride. He tariffed penguins. I know, right? There are some countries that, and I understand why he did what he did. Okay, yes, he put a blanket tariff out there, and I get what he was going for, but I think in one way it worked, and in the other way it's just crippling everything. But I think that's the point. I think they want to cripple this. And don't forget to smash that like button if you're watching on TikTok. Don't just tap it, don't just hit it, but smash it, baby. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with your friends. If you're not a subscriber yet, become a subscriber and join the community. I post daily price point videos every day, and we have been right within the cent nearly every single day. So join the community, be a part of that. And as a deluxe subscriber, you can get that coaching. I offer coaching to help you with your trades and to become more knowledgeable with things. So any questions you have, and even if you just, you want to tell me your life story. I've had so many people come to me and they tell me their life story and how they changed their lives and how all this has happened. And it just warms my heart to feel so close to so many of you. So I love it. Send it in. And I know a lot of you guys don't message me because you think you're bothering me. Don't be afraid to message me. Just if you are going to message me on the weekend, send me a donation. Otherwise, let me rest and let me enjoy my weekend off. But if you feel like you need something and you need to know it, just shoot me a couple bucks or whatever for donation, and I'll work on the weekends. Eventually, one day, I'm just going to 86 that. I'm going to turn messaging off on the weekends if I can, because I do need to, at some point, have one day to myself, and to just turn off the brain and not have to worry about posting price points or anything. But I get that we're involved in a 24-hour market. So I guess that goes with the territory. So I'm going to try to maybe hire somebody to mitigate within that. So we'll figure it out. But I have a feeling that nobody's going to be able to do what I do the way I do it. So and I want you all to succeed. So if you can, if it's on the weekend, send me a donation and make it so I don't feel like I'm like, because some of you, you're on other sides of the world and you're asking me things, and I'm getting up out of bed at 3 a.m. and powering up the computer and doing research and stuff to answer a lot of these questions you guys have. So, be mindful of that. Be mindful. Do I sleep? No. I do have to say though, since I've been working so much doing this show, I've been sleeping better. I've been getting at least 4 hours a night. When we first started, I was getting maybe an hour to 2 hours a night. So it's good to finally start getting 4 to 6 hours. I think it's good for my brain to be tired. So this is good for me. You guys are my therapy, and I appreciate you all very much. But I do need to have at least one day to rest. All right, let's see here. Trump's hammer looks not so heavy, huh? The way President Donald Trump sees it, beating China in the trade war should be easy. I doubt that. And let me tell you, he's wrong. They're going to win this one. Now, are they going to concede a little bit? I think they'll give up something, but they'll probably back out on it, or I don't know what the word to use is without being not politically correct. But they're just not going to follow through with it. They're going to change the rules last minute. They're playing their own game with their own dirty tricks. Every deal that Donald Trump has made with China, they've backed out on it or changed it somewhere along the line. It never pans out the way we want it to. After his logic goes, the Chinese sell Americans 3 times as much as Americans sell them. Therefore, they have more to lose. Inflict enough pain, like combined 145% taxes he slapped on Chinese imports last month. They'll beg for mercy. They will never beg for mercy. They are a prideful country and people, and they base everything in their life off of honor on their family and their generations and their ancestors. If they did that, they would feel like they were dishonoring their ancestors. I don't think they're going to back down. Oz, do you think the Pakistan and India war escalation caused drop in the markets? I mean, yes and no. It's going to create volatility. I think the sentiment is there's a lot of conflicts going along everywhere, and because of that, it's created volatility. But we'll get into that next, because we do have some news on that. Actually, I don't need to cover too much more of this. We gotta cut back. Let me pull that up real quick here. Vance says India Pakistan fight is none of our business. The more conflicts arise around the world, the harder it drops the market. Yes and no, but the quicker it also will regain. It just becomes volatile. But I believe that overall it tends to trend downward because of it. But because you're watching the show, that there's money being made on the way down. Well, let all the negative news come out so my short prints. I think the tariffs are designed to bring industry back to the US. I don't think so. I think that may be one little part of it, but I think, what they're trying to do is kind of even the playing field. But I don't think that our country in the United States has the workforce to do a factory. Have you gone into Home Depot? Have you seen the people that work at Home Depot? You ask them for a hammer and they don't know what it is. You ask them for things and they literally have to pull it up on their phone. They have no way to think with their own brain. This new generation of people working and workforce are completely brain dead. Companies that are already established are threatening to leave if the tariffs stay in place. I mean, that's some, and some are saying that they're coming to the U.S. as well. I think right now it's too soon to call anything. I think it's too soon to rule on anything. But I would definitely say that we don't have a workforce to run these productions. Our workforce is brain dead, and the new generation is just not there. Home Depot is my area, has like 7 people working in a store. Yeah, when I go to Home Depot, I've been there a lot lately because we're building the studio. And there's like 4 or 5, 6, 7 people gathered up in one little corner of the store, way back far away from where they can help anybody. And they're all just chit-chatting and hanging out. And when you ask them a question, they have this look on their face of, I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know where anything is in the store other than this little corner I'm hiding in every single day, doing absolutely nothing. In the long run, it has to be done to change the workforce. I think there's a possibility, but with the way, education is and stuff, it's just getting bad. Like, these kids, they've lost the plot. They have no critical thinking skills. I don't understand what happened or where. Like, I get it. Like, I have a really high IQ. Right? So, and my brain just thinks circles around most people. And I understand, and I have a problem peopling usually because of it, because I can't understand why people can't think the way I do. So I do have a problem peopling, and that's something I've been working on. But I just don't understand. The critical thinking has just completely been lost. Lowe's new workers aren't helpful. Yeah. Makes dumb kids with participation trophies. I agree. Technology, we can GPS everything now and navigate without knowing where we're at. Exactly. You know what? When I was a kid, and I was working in LA, and when I first started, I was 18 years old, and my dad was like, you need to pay attention to what I'm trying to tell you and where we're going, because one day you're going to be about to be late from work because of this, and this is a special way that you can go. And I'm like, Dad, I have GPS. I can just GPS it. And I didn't want to listen. And then, like, when I got older, I realized that I was glad that my dad showed me those different ways to go, and I became familiar with them, because there were times where the GPS would put me in a bad spot and it would tell me this, but by the time I got to that area, I should have gone the other way around. And so it was kind of eye-opening because of that situation. Participation trophies and cell phones. I hear you. And social media. Everyone here watching this show, you're here because you've turned doom scrolling into a way to educate yourself and enrich yourself. But most people are just watching nonsense. Most these lives on TikTok are just some chick with her tits hanging out and a sign that says, I'm not talking until my soulmate comes into the room. They forced everyone to pass during COVID. They didn't even care. Yeah, not even just that. They've been doing that for years, since way before COVID. The no kid left behind thing. All that did was allow, I don't want to say the wrong word, but not so smart people to pass. People that shouldn't have passed were allowed to pass. And that's basically all a high school diploma is. It's a participation trophy now. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that word, but yes, you're right. All right, let's see here. God, the freaking ads. So bad. Okay, Reuters is one of the worst, but they have some of the better stories, and I get why they have the ads, because they can charge them because they're offering good content. And challenged, that's the word. Yes, they're challenged. They're challenged in their mental capacity. I got to be careful, though, because of guidelines. Be careful with them guidelines. I do not want to fill out dozen reports after this live. I want to enjoy my weekend off and possibly take out my Doom buggy if there's time. I do have to finish working on the studio. I'm probably not going to get to. But once the studio's done, I'm going to be buggying it. Exclusive India offers to slash tariff gap by 2/3 in deal to steel trade pact with Trump. And I think this is part of why the markets are pumping, because there are some good news. The UK deal coming out, the India deal coming out. One of our biggest trade partners is India, in case you didn't know it. But we get a lot from India, and that's because China uses India as a rat hole, a place to send things where it sends to us to bypass tariffs. And that's part of why I think they put the blanket tariff, was to combat China, so that China would have no rat hole to go through. So I understand why, but did the end justify the means? I don't think so, because I think it's a war we can't win. And all it's going to do is drive prices up that will never come down. U.S. President Donald Trump and India Prime Minister shake hands as they attend a joint press conference at the White House in Washington, D.C., February 13th. So this is as of May 9th, but they're reporting February 13th what happened. So this is an old picture. However, I do think that these deals are underway. There's nothing formal happening. Okay? So keep that in mind. There's no formal deals that have been signed yet. Even with the UK, they are pumping the narrative that the deal is set in stone when there is no deal. There's no deal yet. And let me tell you, if there wasn't some sort of problem, they'd already signed something. Donald Trump is ready to sign deals right now. And UK and Israel at the top of the list. I believe Israel did sign a deal, but no one else has that I know of. No real deals. So, summary: India offers narrow tariff gap for U.S. to under 4%. India wants exemption from all current potential tariff hikes. India is ready to give preferential access to 90% of U.S. goods. India wants the U.S. to align it with allies on critical tech. And I think they want that critical tech because they are going to war. And they're looking for the U.S. to be their ally. And I think one of those behind the door backroom deals is we could be getting roped into a conflict through all of this. Keep that in mind. All right, let's see here. The first Chinese freight ship goods hit with tariffs, with Trump's tariffs, 145% plus tariffs arriving at U.S. ports as of today. So if you thought prices were going up now, give it a few more days and it's probably going to go up more. The first Chinese goods subject to President Donald Trump's 145% plus tariffs have begun arriving at the busiest ports in the U.S. in Los Angeles and Long Beach. 12,000 shipping containers in all are on the first flotilla of freight vessels from China with goods for Amazon, Home Depot, IKEA, Ralph Lauren, Tractor Supply, Procter and Gamble, LG, Samsung, among others. Trump said on Friday he might be willing to lower tariffs on China to 80%, but none of that's set in stone. and the goods are here and the tariffs are paid. The prices on these goods that just hit the port are going to be the benchmark for the new prices to come for everything that hits the shelves from now on. Even if the prices will skyrocket up and the supply will dwindle and people will buy it at whatever cost, and once the deal is done, they'll drop it a few cents, but they'll have raised it several dollars. Literally, a stick of PVC pipe used to be $1 to $2 a 10-foot, 12-foot stick, and now the ones from China are like $7, and the ones from the US were like $2, and now the ones from the US are up too because the other ones are up, so they're like, we can raise our prices too. Just picked up 20 cases of TP today. Good for you. And if you don't use it all, stockpile some of it away. I would always say have a case of toilet paper just in your basement or somewhere stored away. Just one, because you know what? Nobody wants to be that guy in the morning where you wake up and there's just none and you're stuck there sitting there, or the worst is you got to take a shower. Oh, that is a gross shower. You don't want that. I don't want that for you. So buy some toilet paper. He's trying to backpedal. He thought he could bully China. They're calling his bluff. Yeah. China will burn their country to the ground, and the U.S. is like, yeah, we're not willing to do that. He got arrogant. And now they're calling his bluff. And it's because of that, it's going to suffer. The deal with China will be terrible. Whatever it is, it's not going to be good. These other countries, they will bend the knee. They will grovel at his feet and beg him, please, please just make it all go away. And China's like, we prefer death. They do not care. All right, we gotta start rolling through some of these because we're getting close to the point. In Trump's circle, some expect high tariffs even after trade deals. Yep. In Trump's circle, some expect high tariffs even after trade deals. Yeah, they will kiss his ass, except for China, usually how it goes. Exactly. China does not care. And let's see here. We're not going to read all of this, but one thing to take from this. Reuters spoke to half a dozen current and former Trump advisors, some of whom differed sharply on the economic theory behind the president's strategy. But one thing that most of them agreed on was that once the dust settles from Trump's trade negotiations, America will be left with higher tariffs. Let me read that for you again. One thing that most of them agreed on was that once the dust settles from Trump's trade negotiations, America will be left with higher tariffs. This is from Trump's advisors, his staff that work with him. The people in charge of all of this know that the prices aren't coming down, know that a lot of the tariffs are going to stay in place for the U.S. and probably for other countries. This is not good. And let me tell you, once people start realizing this and the moon cheese runs out, that's when I would be scared. That's when I would be worried. Right now, I'm not so worried. I'm like, oh yeah, they're spoon feeding people the moon cheese. Let's make some trades, baby. But a few years down the road, this don't look good. Trump's a liar. He's filling his pockets before the exit. Yeah, the ship is sinking, and They are raiding the kitchen, stealing the silverware while the ship is sinking. And I'm over here trying to get you and my family to the lifeboats because there aren't enough. That's what we're trying to do here. All right, let's see here. Protests erupt in China after furious workers demand pay as Trump's tariffs on imports jolt the economy. Let's see, I think we can afford to watch this.
It's simple. No matter how powerful you are, no matter how much money you think you may have, no one is above the law.
Artist James's words coming back to haunt her? Critics are calling it karma, others an act of revenge by the Trump administration, after New York's Attorney General was hit with a federal criminal referral for alleged mortgage fraud. Here's everything you need to know.
James appears to have falsified records in order to meet certain lending requirements and receive favorable
mumbo jumbo. Who cares? They're just doing tit for tat. Okay, they accused Trump. She's the person that accused Trump of doing this, and which I think he's probably guilty of. He probably did it, and she did it herself. And they're just doing the tit for tat back together. We care about the real news, okay? We're not doing bifurcation nonsense, tit for tat, back and forth, this or that. What we're looking for is real news. Stuff that really matters, stuff that affects us financially, because right now this is a financial war. It's being fought with your pocketbook and in your mind. Protests from furious factory workers in China demand back pay are spreading across the country after Trump's tariffs on China begin impacting the communist nation's economy. I hate how they word this stuff. Who is this? New York Post. Golly, leave the nonsense out of it, but whatever. Unrest has been reported across the country as workers have taken the streets protesting unpaid wages and challenging unfair dismissals following the closure of factories squeezed by the U.S. tariffs, according to Radio Free Asia. Chinese industry leaders, meanwhile, are extremely anxious about steep duties, with many telling factories and suppliers to halt or delay supplies. Head of the industry group representing more than 2,000 Chinese merchants told the Financial Times. Okay, China's not doing too well, and they don't care. They do not care. Let's see here. Let's look at some of these pictures here. Look at all the people outside protesting in China. If you guys know anything about Tiananmen Square, this isn't going to end well. They will let each and every one of these people, workers handling molten iron casting equipment, May 3rd. President Trump takes questions from reporter in the Oval Office. Blah, blah, blah. Blah. Look at that face. Blah. He doesn't look so orange in that picture. That is definitely a doctored photo. They tried to take away some of the orange in his face and his hair, is what it looks like. This picture has been obviously doctored. He looks blah. Whatever. I'm not going to jump on the orange man bad train. I'm just going to say, you know what? Who cares? Who cares? What really matters is that people are dying and people are suffering across the world, and we need to do something about it. And I don't think anything's getting better. We all thought that literally Lockheed Martin tanked when everything else pumped like this when Trump got elected, and because people thought that Trump was going to bring world peace. That's never going to happen. Golly. All right, let's see here. A couple more articles. We got 30 minutes left. Gosh, I'll tell you, the best articles have the most ads. North Korean, that's one thing to do is when you are looking for good news, the ones that are covered in spam and nonsense pop-up ads are usually the ones you want to be reading. those have the most substantial factual news in them. Anything that's free and cheap and easily accessible is probably full of moon cheese or nonsense, propaganda. So keep that in mind. That's one way to root through the nonsense. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un says participation in Russia-Ukraine war was justified. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said North Korea's involvement in the Russia-Ukraine war was justified, calling it an exercise of sovereign rights in defense of a brother nation state. Media reported on Saturday. Our participation in the conflict was just, and it falls within sovereign rights of our republic, Kim said, according to KCNA. I consider all the brave soldiers who participated in the Kursk operation to be heroes and the highest representatives of our nation's honor, he added. So North Korea is getting involved. This is not good. This is World War III. This is not good news. And here's one. I had to dig for this. And you know what? This is Arab media indicates change in U.S. demands in Gaza deal, Iran to continue nuclear talks. So this is more news pointing towards World War III. And honestly, I think we're in it already. I think we're in World War III and we're in a civil war in the United States already. And they're happening simultaneously at the same time. That's not a good thing. This is bad. The ship is sinking. Palestinian Hamas terrorists stand guard before the release of Israeli hostages held in Gaza since the deadly October 7th attack in 2003. Attack is part of a ceasefire and hostages prisoner swap deal between Hamas and Israel in southern Gaza Strip. This was February 15th. This is old news. You know, this was all posted today, but this is old news. I'm not going to read any of it. My bad. All right, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with your friends, and don't forget, we are supported by your donations. We do not make any money off of TikTok. We do not make money off of Twitch. We put a lot of work and in order to keep the show going and keep the staff employed here, we rely on your donations. We're basically PBS. We are supported by viewers like you. So please, if you want to continue getting this information and keeping the show alive, please become a donator. Help keep the show alive because we cannot do it with you or without you. We are reliant on you. We rely on each other. We are a community here and we need to work together because I will tell you right now, there is no way that this show is going to make it without your support. The reason why is because the truth is being suppressed right now. And the only way that this is going to continue to work is with your support. We've been in it since we got involved with Ukraine. I agree. We've been in, I think we've been in World War III. Yeah. I think it may have even been, you know, Ukraine was first, right? And then Israel came after. But it was also Taiwan. You guys remember when Taiwan was attacked by China? And all those people, they refused to surrender and they were all killed. They were unalived, excuse me, TikTok, sorry. You guys remember that? Taiwan is the most crucial front on this world war, and no one's talking about it. And it's because it's so crucial and could be so devastating. But let me tell you right now, if we lose Taiwan to China, that's like the worst thing that could happen to the United States and many other countries. That is not a good thing. We cannot afford that to happen. And it's more of a silent war happening right now, but it is happening and no one is talking about it. That's what's scary about it. That's the scary fact. And let me tell you, the truth will always be the hardest thing to find. If you're looking for the truth, it's going to be hard to find. You're going to have to dig for it and search for it. That's why this show has been so suppressed so much, because we are here to tell the truth. I'm not here to tickle your ear and tell you that XRP is going to $11 million. Keep buying it. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to tell you the truth. I'm here to show you the truth about the news and what's going on in the world. And I believe in the long run, the truth will prevail. And that's because of people like you, because of your support, your donations. They can't stop us. They can't stop us. They can't stop the truth, because the truth is what it is. The lie will always come to light. What was it Kendrick said? It was always God's plan to show you all the liar. This is God's plan. This show, this truth, is all part of the plan. And it's because of you guys that we continue to do this. And thank you for your support. I think I'm going to call it a night early unless you guys have any questions. We'll take a quick look at the charts. But I think nothing's changed. We got to wait and see. We're looking for a bit of a breakout here. We're looking for some kind of change in the market. And as of right now, everything kind of looks the same. What's our breakout price? Let me plot it out here and I will tell you. I would say right now that nothing really indicates a breakout just yet. I would say everything is indicating downward movement, but that's also why I'm expecting a possible breakout. X always marks the spot. So tomorrow, Sunday, whatever happens Sunday, and obviously there's an X one above the other. We kind of touch the X right here on this side, but these lines aren't 100% accurate, but they give us a slight indication of when it could happen. So I would say in the next couple days, by Monday, Tuesday, we should have an indication of where we're going. And if we're moving sideways and downward, this X would be the spot. And that would be that Wednesday, the 21st. And let me tell you, Wednesday, the 21st lines up with this previous cycle. This is May 19th. This big red drop right here. And I believe that this is where we're at. I believe this is where we're at right now. And we're headed for this move down here. May 20th, May 21st, big drop, and then a little more price correction and continue moving downward till July. See you Monday. Yep. And more info on Orca. I think, didn't we say Orca was looking good? Let me look at it one more time. Orca. I feel like there's just not enough data to tell. And I think whatever everything else does, it will depend on it. But it looks like a descending channel, which would move the price to about 414 to 424. And depending on what structure it forms there, I could see it retracing all the way back to 550 and even higher of possibly six something. It's kind of hard to tell. Probably 575 to, I think on the ultra high end would probably be like 680. 690, but it could come up here to like 710. It just depends, but I think based off of what we're seeing, see this, we had this pump right here, descending channel, pump right here, descending channel, and it looks like we're headed for the next new pump upward. And we disconnected again. All right. Doesn't Ukraine produce some special aerosol gases needed by Taiwan to make the chips? I believe that is why they're negotiating the deal for them to pay back their debt with what do they call it? Minerals deal. I think that is the aerosols is those minerals. So yes, I believe you are correct, Neo. Look at you, Neo. I'm telling you, you are a smart cookie. I appreciate every time you comment. You always have something so substantial. There is a possibility for Orca to break down again before it bounces, but I don't think so. I think this is the bounce. And I think Orca's ready to pump. So, Danny Gibson, I would expect to see at minimum 350, but that's so low. I think probably more like $4 to $4.50. It's still just so new, but this, see this channel, this should pump it up to at least $4, I think, or just under 380. You know. So I think it's got pump in it. It's got some pump in it, but we got to let it pump out of this channel, see where it goes to, and see what it forms from there. And it could just freaking God candle like this one did, and it'll wick. And let me see here. Let me try something here. Sometimes if I look at the chart in different ways, I see patterns. I think what you're seeing right here is classic bull run cycle. It runs up, it runs down, and it gets another one, and it runs down. It may not go as much as we hope. I think it's working its way down. I think maybe it would, if it does, it'll pump a little bit and then come back down. And maybe in July, it'll see that pumped like $7 would probably be the top 650. It would take some time on that one. I don't think it's happening overnight. I think this indicates a pump upward, but I would probably say the top is going to be 420-ish. Seems like every Friday it gets a God candle. I know, right? And that's weird because that's used to be like Wednesday was like that. And even Sundays have been pumping like that. It's weird. Everything's off. The cycle's off. And that's why I feel like this lines up with Sunday. The X on the bottom here. Okay. So we hit our top X right here now, right? And that happened Friday. We got a little more Saturday, Sunday. X marks the spot. Okay? I think we already touched this X, and I think we're headed for this one. That's my opinion. Now, moon cheese could play a factor, but I think it just falls in the realm with this movement. Look at if it goes up, but I don't think so that it would do that. This would indicate like down. And it could move more sharply. I think it, hold on, let me, I messed that one up. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down. I think that's where it's really going to break, is this mark right here. And that's the 22nd, 21st, 19th. And that lines up with the previous cycle. However, X marks the spot. X would indicate that Sunday would be the start of the move downward. Hey, you have a good weekend too. Everyone, happy Mother's Day if you're a mother. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. I won't be live. Have a great weekend. And don't forget, if you are going to message me over the weekend, please send a donation. So, because I want to discourage you to message me. But obviously, if you feel like it's vital or important, I don't want to turn you away. So, you know, send me a couple bucks and we're good. What are the price points on the X's? That's a good question. So the top X here was that 243, which we hit. And the bottom X here is at 215. And this one is at 230. 232-ish. I would say probably closer to 230. I use the round numbers because it's hard to say exactly. I do sometimes make to the point predictions, but there's just not enough data yet to give you that actual to the cent. But we know like the sentiment of what direction it's going. I think X marks the spot Sunday of the downward trend. We should move downward. If we don't and we start pushing up here, we could break out and start testing here, maybe even break above and start testing here. I don't think so, though. I think that is unlikely. The charts say otherwise. However, stranger things have happened. But after a big, heavy pump like this, I just don't see another one. And that would take it to 260. And that would just be ready for a crash again, because I don't see any news coming out to keep it supported up that high. I just don't, nothing is really indicating that crazy moon move. I think that comes later. I think that comes in July. I think what really lines up is that X marks the spot. We start to make our downturn, and then X marks the spot is where we break downward or we break upward. This is the real pivotal moment. Right here. May 20th, or I would say even May 18th through May 25th. And mind you, that's Memorial Day weekend around that time. You know, we tend to pump on holidays. People are bored at home and they're bragging to their friends about Bitcoin and this and that, and they say, "Oh, bro, I dare you to buy a couple grand right now." "Oh, I'll do it, bro. Hold my beer." You know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff that happens on the weekends. May 19th, you called earlier from last year. Yes, it was May 19th. May 19th. Mega, I see you in the live. Mega Crypto's watching. How you doing, Mega? Neo says, hey, Mega. Yep, this big red candle is May 19th. And I think that's where we're at right here. It just lines up. It's that we had this big pump. Look at dual bull flag up to the top. And then we had this like consolidation sideways and then a drop. And then this cup. But it's not a cup and handle because it's from a bearish drop into it. Now, if it had formed the cup right here, which it kind of did, this is kind of a cup and handle, it still didn't happen. It freaking dropped. Hey, Mega, thank you for having me as a guest on the live today, and thank you for the shout out for the show. Much appreciated. Everyone, I'm sure you all know who Mega is, Mega Crypto. I consider him a friend, and we like to bounce ideas off each other, and I think two heads are better than one, always. I listen to other people's stuff. Do I take stuff from them? No. I have my own way of doing things, and that's kind of why I stick to my own thing, because everybody's got their own little thing, how they do things, and you all know I use the candles. Have you ever seen me do a prediction and pull up the Fibonacci or any indicators or anything? Have you guys ever really seen me do that, except for when people ask for it? I know Mega did a show today. It was awesome. It was great to see and hear from him again. I never use the indicators. I always use the candles. And that goes to show you that I haven't seen another creator doing it like this. I don't know if you guys have. I'm sure there are out there, but it's very old school. It's like Wolf of Wall Street stuff, 1980s. And I think that's why it works so well. I think the indicators and stuff had made people lazy in the way they make trades. This is a much more advanced way of doing trading, and I believe that that's why it's so accurate. And that's why I don't get into the other things. And I do use some Elliott wave theory. You know, I do look at indicators and certain things sometimes for confirmation, especially like when it was like a big move down here. But let me tell you right now, no indicator whatsoever would have indicated that we were going to 163, especially months in advance. No indicator is going to give you that. The only indicator that will give you that kind of a prediction so far in advance is candles. Candles are the key to all of this. All right, guys, it's 9 o'clock. Thank you all, and don't forget to send in those donations. We are supported by your donations, and have a great weekend, everybody. I love and appreciate all of you. I will see you all on Monday, and hopefully Monday the cameras will be on, baby. My prediction is that on Monday the cameras will be on and you will see my beautiful face. You will get to see the studio. I'll probably even on TikTok do a special pre-show. If it's ready, I'll do a special pre-show on TikTok and show you a panoramic around the studio of what it looks like inside. And then we'll all move into Twitch or something like that. Or we'll, there's a possibility that TikTok Studio will be available to me by then. So we may be able to cast to TikTok Studio, but I don't know how long that's going to last. I think at the most we'll get 2 weeks out of it before we get hit with some guidelines and it's gone again. So I've only had it available to me one time, and literally the day we got it available to us, we got hit with guidelines that day and it was gone, and we can use it for like a week. So I'm not even banking on that working at all, but we shall see, because we are doing the weekend and we're not going to be going live or anything. However, My videos always get flagged. My memes get flagged. I have like 4 appeals I have to file tonight just from the live, and nothing happened. We didn't do anything wrong. We didn't do anything out of the ordinary. And I still have appeals. It's ridiculous. I just don't even want to deal with TikTok anymore. But unfortunately, we have to grow Twitch before. But how amazing that we finally got some haters on Twitch for the first time. That was fun. That was fun. And thank you all for having my back. And we had some haters on TikTok as well. And those of you who are on TikTok that jumped in and have my back, thank you all very much. I love you all and appreciate you. Calvin Hill has his army going strong with the reports. Oh, yeah. Daddy in 8 inches. Yeah. You know, I just saw something. I just saw something in the charts. We can't end the live yet. Is this a cup and handle forming? Is this a cup and handle? That's a possibility. And that lines up right with this. Keep that in mind. And that would send the price to 260 to 280. So we're going to have to wait. It's a little out of structure, but let's keep an eye on this. Let's keep an eye on this and see what happens. I'm not 100% convinced. There's just not enough yet. I feel like everything is a damn Head and Shoulders recently. Let's see, though. And because it's been Head and Shoulders after Head and Shoulders after Head and Shoulders, I think we're due for the AI to start producing a new pattern. I think what we're in right now is a wedge pattern. And I'm seeing that on, what was it, Orca? Orca's this descending channel pattern. Bitcoin, however, is this a diamond top? Is Bitcoin a diamond top? Maybe this is a diamond top, baby. I don't know. It's kind of wonky, but kind of, I don't know. Not enough data yet, but I think that this is probably not the case, but it could be. It could just be that support underneath didn't allow it to break down low enough to actually structure, and it could still, or it could be the makings of one where we get a big push and then a big drop, and then it's a much bigger diamond top. So we'll have to see, because it looks diamondish. The 1 hour looks diamondish. Keep that in mind. I just noticed that right now. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I think everything's ready for a downturn. Now that I'm seeing this, this is a bit of a diamond top type structure, possibly. It could still be a bull flag. I think it's not. I think it's diamond top, and it's just a little wonky. And just like our XRP is a Head and Shoulders, it's just a little wonky, or it's a double top or something. I've been waiting for Bitcoin to show me something. I know the show's supposed to be over already, but my manager's yelling at me already. All right. IT guy's got to come in and do work. I got to go. We'll keep an eye on this. If Bitcoin starts to break downward, so will everything else. All right, everyone, have a great weekend. I will see you all on Monday.